you can feel it out just based on hunger and fullness cues. I would say a lot of people, depending on their stress and relationship with food, don't have great hunger and fullness cues.
How do you nurture that, or how do you increase the awareness of hunger?
Yeah. So
Phil for you.
Again, lots of layers to that too. I think there are things that ghrelin and leptin are your hunger and fullness hormones, right?
Okay.
And so I think there's ways to foster that. I think some of it is awareness and mindfulness. So
Eating slower?
eating slower, eating very present.
Because I heard that like it took 20 minutes for your stomach to tell your brain that it was full. Is that true?
I don't know that it's an exact science, but yeah, I'm sure that's probably close to true.
Takes a little bit.
So setting your fork down between bites, which is really hard to do, but being very present. How many people eat food on the run? How many people eat food while working? How many people eat food in the car? How many people, and so
eat food intentionally.
Psycho-emotional connection with that, you are more likely to be hungry later if you weren't present to eating or eating too quickly.
Really?
And this is actually another experiment for people to try or notice. How often do you actually put food in your mouth when there's already still a little bit of food in your mouth? Most people are like, surely I don't do that. Most people do.
Really?
You're eating quickly. You take a bite. Maybe you swallow like 90% of it.
My grandfather, I remember watching him eat, and he would just eat as fast as possible.
Yeah. And more likely than not, there was probably a little bit of the first bite still in his mouth. While he's
of course.
I
think I got some of that from those role models that like, you need to eat fast.
Well, and some of it is life, right? Like I don't
have a lot of time.
I'm a single mom with 2 kids. And so, how often are
you just carving down something, running out the door,
putting their lunches together or whatever. And I'm like, ooh, practice what you preach, Ashley, whatever. Can we sit down at the table and eat?
Carve out that time.
And you can.
Yeah, you can.
Most people can eat mindfully in 10 or 15 minutes. But that also is precious time for a lot of people. But also, how important is it for you to absorb your nutrients and have good digestion and not be bloated and have a good relationship with food and all of those things? Is it worth 10 minutes? Probably.
Yeah.
And so I think that's a piece of that is just, making sure that we, even smelling our food before we eat, it releases gastric secretions that help us digest our food. And
really?
For some people, I would even say that that's actually part of, I have heard that is part of actually where some prayer over food has come into play, because you are being thankful for the food and sitting and looking at the food and being mindful over the food actually helps release
your body,
these secretions. Your body prepares to eat.
That makes sense.
You salivate which also helps break up food from the mouth. Then you break up food in the esophagus and in the stomach and in the intestine. But your mind needs to smell and be aware of it. If you're like yelling at a kid and entering in a spreadsheet and taking a bite, are we releasing all the secretions for that? Maybe not.
Thich Nhat Hanh wrote a book called Savor about mindful eating.
Yeah.
And in the mindfulness-based stress reduction system, one of the things you do is a raisin meditation. You basically take 20, 30 minutes to eat one raisin, where you'll smell it and you'll roll it around, and then you're like, what does it sound like? And you'll think about you just put a lot of intentionality and mindfulness and time into savoring that one little thing. And I think the invitation is to do that with not only your food, but your life.
Yeah.
This is like a call to the present moment.
Intentionality of stress relief.
Be here now.
Absolutely.
Meet the present moment with what is. Don't be in the future. Don't be in the past. And
it's so hard to do.
Give it some time.
Powerful. Yeah.
But what we eat is really important.
Yeah.
We're putting that in our body.
Yeah. Yeah. You are what you eat. Yeah.
You are what you eat.
Yeah.
What do they say? Every 7 years, every cell in your body will have been replaced with a new one. And where do they get the material for that?
Yeah. And I know everybody doesn't believe this, but there are also just how, not even just in the health of the meat, but how the animals are treated and their stress. There's also a lot of studies behind that. Then we absorb that stress.
So the animals we need to know their names. Yeah. We need to know that they had massages. We need to know that they had a good
Thank you,
time.
Betty the cow.
Thank you, Betty.
You know,
There's that
whatever.
Portlandia skit where they're like
Bison.
getting the chicken, and they're like end up taking them to the farm and meeting.
Yeah.
And
My
there's,
son would cry over that. He'd be like, "No, I don't want to eat Betty."
I think there's truth to that.
I do.
Like
Me too.
the lifestyle of the animal and the
I do.
love
I
in the
think-
plants and all that.
I think there's energy in everything, and I think energy is transferred. And so I think, you know,
We
I know
get
it
a
goes
little
down-
woo woo.
I know it goes down a hippie path.
It goes down a woo woo path, but I'm
And-
here for it.
Yeah, I'm
you
here
know?
for
I
it too.
think
I'm
that-
like, you don't have to believe it, but I do believe in energy transfer.
But I think there is, at a basic level, like grass-fed and finished beef is different from
It is.
corn
And
lot
there's
finished.
studies behind that.
I think there's studies
absolutely.
behind
Yeah, there are.
So if you're gonna eat
Yeah.
butter or you're gonna drink milk,
Yeah.
I mean,
And free range chickens and all that. Yeah.
Yes.
Absolutely. No, how they are treated, how they're raised, where they live, what they're being fed, all of those things make a big difference.
yeah,
And I think too, not to open up this tangent, another talk for another time, but like there are, I mean, I don't know about you, but growing up, how many kids did you know with food allergies versus how many kids do you know now or heard of with food allergies?
there's more of them now.
Oh, so many more. So many more.
You think it's lifestyle?
I think it's our food.
Our food.
Yeah. And how it's processed. And I do.
It makes sense.
Yeah.
All this processed food business.
Yeah.
I'm with Michael Pollan on it. Omnivore's
I am too.
Dilemma, man.
Yeah.
He wrote another
Give it to us
book that
straight
was
from
like
the earth,
the
yeah.
rules for eating.
Yeah.
Have you seen that?
Yeah.
It's like a small
Yeah,
book.
I have. Yeah.
But it's like
I think I own
there
it.
needs to be like 2 or 3 ingredients in the
Yep.
food that you eat. You need to be able to pronounce everything.
Yeah.
You need to.
I love it.
I love it too.
Yeah, I think it's important. I also feel like it just like grounds us in a deeper way. And, you know, I don't know. You are
It ties us to the earth.
Yeah.
It ties us
Yeah.
to, capitalism. We'll save the rants for another time. But I have a solid rant on capitalism and how it impacts pretty much all of our systems.
Yeah.
Whether it's food or mental
Healthcare,
health or
whatever.
healthcare
Yeah.
or
We could talk for hours about
school or
that. Yeah.
politics. It's like, ugh.
I know.